Hey there, how you doing? It's Melissa Benaroya with Childproof Parenting Live, and I am here today to chat with you about why you should encourage your child to make mistakes. And not just a few mistakes, but lots of mistakes. They are probably one of our greatest tools for learning and teaching. And so many parents don't want to see their child fail. They don't want to see their child uncomfortable. And if we get in the way of their failure or discomfort, we are setting them up for huge disappointment in life. So I wanted to just spend a few minutes today talking about the benefits of letting your child fail, or even maybe setting your child up for failure. I know that kind of sounds silly. And this could be as simple as playing a board game, which you know they're not going to win in, and you're not going to let them win. It's a wonderful opportunity. And I know that may sound a little crazy and a little mean, but it absolutely isn't. And I could probably list 40 or 50 different reasons why it's so important that our child make mistakes and screw up and fail and get in trouble even. But I'm just gonna share like 5 or 6 with you today. So again, this is Melissa Benaroya. I am a licensed clinical social worker and I practice as a parent and family coach. You're actually in my private office right now. And I am also the founder of Childproof Parenting, which is a book, The Childproof Parent, and also online courses. So if you're interested in working with me, we can work together one-on-one live, but most of you aren't in the Seattle area, so there's lots of other ways I can support you. So wanted to get back to our topic today, which is encouraging your child to make mistakes. There's a wonderful book that I read long ago, written by Wendy Mogul. It's called Blessings of a Skinny. And this was my first introduction to the idea of the value of our children screwing up. She also has another book called The Blessings of a B-, I think it is. Yeah, Blessings of a B-. Couldn't remember what grade is kind of a little bit of failure, but not completely failure. Both fabulous books. You don't need to read both of those, but I just wanted to throw them out there because that was kind of my first introduction. As a positive discipline facilitator, one of the key messages is mistakes are opportunities for learning. And there is so much to be learned from our mistakes and for our children's mistakes. And I'm saying our mistakes. I'm talking specifically about our children, but I also want to acknowledge that in your process of becoming a parent, which basically never ends, it's not the first year of your child's life, but through the process of becoming your child's parent, you screw up a lot. And I know this because I screw up a lot. So you screw up a lot, it's perfectly fine. And it's actually wonderful because you are modeling being human. You are modeling repair. You are modeling how to problem solve. You are modeling how to try again. So I'm gonna talk about just some general benefits, and most of you are thinking about your child, but also I want you to be able to think about this in terms of you and your parenting as well. I actually just chatted with a mom the other day, and she was like, I totally screwed up my kids. Is it too late? I've messed this up. It's over. And I said, well, remind me how old your child is. And she said, my child's 3. So you absolutely have not messed it up. You are going through your learning process. And even if your child's 13 or 23, you have not messed it up. It might be a little bit harder work to turn things around, but our mistakes are not our failures. They're our opportunities for learning. So at the top of my list on the benefits of making mistakes is that it leads to personal growth. Kids learn about who they are and how they learn and the things they need to work on for themselves. Whether it's a character trait like being compassionate or forgiving, or if it's math, like failing the test and figuring out like maybe that's where I need to spend more time studying, or maybe I need better study habits. So there's a lot that kids can learn about themselves and learn to be creative. It also builds critical thinking skills and problem solving skills. Because when you make a mistake, many times you got to fix it or you got to figure out how to do it right. So this reinforces those critical thinking skills, which we all want our children to have because we want them to make good decisions. But in order to learn to make good decisions, they're going to have to make some bad ones, unfortunately. Making mistakes actually also boosts their retention and comprehension. So because they've made a mistake, because they've had to think things through, because they're going to reflect on what just happened, that information, that process is going to get reinforced, and it's going to be in that long-term memory, better than, getting it right, fluking the first time. So just want to acknowledge that their mistakes reinforce all of the positive things that they will learn through the process. Mistakes are also great opportunities for learning about consequences, real world consequences. And, as I talk in my programs about consequences, we talk about natural consequences and logical consequences. The natural consequences are those things that teach your child without you getting involved. So your child decides they don't want to wear shoes to school. Great, no problem. They learn that their feet are cold or their socks get wet because they chose not to wear shoes to school, right? Or maybe they wear shoes to school without socks and their feet got really cold. So kids are going to learn from those consequences. And many times parents feel like, I need to come up with a good consequence so they learn, or I need to use a punishment so they feel really bad and they don't do it again. Well, that's not going to work. And if it does, it's only because your child is now in fear of you or in fear of what may happen. And I don't think you want that. So thinking about allowing natural consequences to do the teaching. Your child forgets their lunchbox. It's their responsibility to put it in their backpack every day. Bummer. They're going to be hungry at school, or they're going to be forced to problem solve and figure out, how am I going to get something to eat today because I forgot my lunchbox? Or maybe the same is true with homework. Everybody's turned in their homework and your child's sitting there embarrassed and quiet because they don't have anything to turn in. Or maybe they're exchanging papers and correcting each other and your child doesn't have it. So that feeling of embarrassment or guilt does the teaching. You don't have to embarrass your child. You don't need to make them feel guilty. They're going to learn all on your own. So those consequences are a wonderful opportunity for learning. I think also your child learns that failure is part of the process, and they get comfortable with failure and they accept failure. And in doing so, they're more likely to take risks. Right? And taking risks is a very big part of the creative process. So we want our child to learn to take risks, know that it's a safe environment, that you're there to support them in their risk taking. Obviously, when we're talking about teenagers, there's certain types of risks, obviously, we're not going to let them take, and we're going to have to do some teaching in those moments. But taking risks is a really important behavior for our child to be successful, to learn, and to find happiness in their lives, because they're going to learn what works, what doesn't work, what makes them happy, what doesn't make them happy. And it's all going to require taking risks. So it's going to encourage your child to take more risks than they might normally take. And in this process, it will also continue to build their confidence and their reassurance, because they're not going to let a failure get them down or feel bad about themselves or define them, right? Like, I'm stupid because I failed that math test. That's not going to be the issue. The issue when kids are comfortable with failure and mistakes is, crap, what did I mess up on this test? What did I do wrong? What could I have done different? And this is a mindset as parents we need to take on, and we need to teach our children, and we need to model for them as well. So acknowledge that you're making mistakes, model that acknowledgement of your mistakes and how you reflect, you process, and you problem solve, or you repair in those moments. And lastly, I'm going to just throw out there that making mistakes help our child make connections between ideas and concepts, because they have to go back and reflect and look at what's working, what's not working, and they're going to be able to pick ideas and strategies that have worked for them in the past, maybe in different areas of their life or in different subjects at school, but they're going to be able to draw and make those connections through mistakes. So, if I haven't convinced you in any way, shape, or form that your child's mistakes are valuable, please reach out to me because I'm happy to chat with you about this. I don't believe I've actually posted anything on this yet, but if this is an interesting topic, I would love to write something up for you. Or if you have a specific question about your child's mistakes or failures or how to use them as tools for learning and growth, I would love to answer that for you. So I get these questions, not directly all the time, pretty indirectly, like the example I gave of the mother who thinks she totally screwed up her child and it's too late to invest in her parenting. I get that comment and that reaction a lot, and I want to just normalize and encourage mistakes and failures. Actually, I do have a wonderful piece I've written, and I'm going to make sure I get out to you this next week. And if you want to check it out, you'll be able to find it on the childproofparenting.com website. I'll make sure I highlight it in my next email out to you. I only send emails maybe once every week, every 2 weeks. I do not bombard you with them, but I want to send you valuable information and content. And many times I'll have something that you can download kind of as a takeaway. So that way you don't feel like you have to keep going back online or printing out in a whole article. It's just, I like having cheat sheets, so I like to create them for all of you. So again, mistakes are wonderful opportunities for learning. I'm Melissa Benaroya with Childproof Parenting, and I hope to see you next Friday when we talk about whatever it is that's coming up for you. So please don't hesitate to send me your questions because I will either answer them over Facebook Live or write an article on my blog answering your questions. All right, everybody, have a fabulous weekend, and I will see you next Friday. Actually, not at noon. I'm usually here with you at noon. Next Friday, I am volunteering at my son's school, so I'm going to be a little bit early or a little bit late. I will let you know, and I apologize, but it's one of my values and one of my priorities is being involved in my children's lives and volunteering. So I apologize that I am changing our time for next week, but I'll make sure to update you as soon as we have our new time. All right, have a great weekend. Talk to you later. Bye, guys.